Hello, and welcome to Seriously Pointless Conversations About Culture, the podcast where myself and a few of my friends get together and discuss nerdy things. Just a reminder, if you like what you're listening to, please subscribe to Seriously Pointless Conversations YouTube channel, or you can find us on your favorite podcasting apps. Thank you for your support. Without you, none of this would be possible. Thanks for coming by. Now let's get into the episode. Hi, and welcome to Seriously Pointless Conversations About Culture, your seriously pointless podcast about all your nerdy geek things across time and this pumpkin pie-laden season.
It's pumpkin spice season, baby.
That's right, girlfriend. How basic are you, James? Are you pretty basic?
I'm very basic.
You know, when I look at you, James, I don't see basic, I see extra.
Well, I can be extra, too.
You're extra basic.
We're going to have an extra dinner party tomorrow.
That's right, we are. And guys, so this is the wonderful fall edition of our show before we get into the wonderful Christmas caroling season, which will be next month, guys. But this is going to be November's news, guys. I hope you guys are having a wonderful holiday season so far. Obviously, I know people that are outside of the U.S. probably don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but here in the U.S., we like to stuff our faces every November.
It is the American way.
That is right. Overindulge and pass out on the couch while your in-laws watch some sort of sporting event that you don't care about.
For example, Andy's has their pumpkin pie concretes back.
Is that a local eatery of sorts, James, that we like to go to?
It is semi-local. It's a franchise.
It is pretty good. So
it's actually a little bigger than Ted Drew's in terms of total volume.
Yes.
Even though Ted Drew's is probably the more famous locally.
I was in trouble quite a bit whenever, by now people might know this, but when I was in law enforcement, the Andy's was right next to the police department, and they would literally give us like 80% off.
Holy cow.
Every time you would go there. And for the first couple months that we moved into the police department there, I went there a lot, James.
I bet you did.
And then I told myself, Dave, you've probably gained 15 pounds in a month. You need to stop. It was all really good, don't get me wrong.
Like a small concrete's probably 2,000 calories.
God, it's so good, though, man. Oh, it's so good.
Whenever we're having a bad day at work, someone will go out and get Andy's and bring it back for everybody.
That's what we do. So whenever we got stuck on a crime scene for a long period of time, the next day, whoever wasn't doing anything as much, usually a sergeant or whatever, would grab Andy's first the next day and bring it into work and be like, good job last night, guys. And I'm like, thanks. I'm going to drown all my sorrows in food. It's either that or booze at home, so it's one of the two. But luckily I don't have to deal with that shit anymore. I can actually watch what I eat. But except for tomorrow night, I'm going to indulge a little bit. I've been good this week, James.
I have planned a very extra menu. So
don't ruin it for us, because tomorrow, guys. So is also that's the other thing that's kind of going on in the. I don't know if people do these a lot during the regular time of the year, but I know we do them quite a bit during the fall and the winter months. Murder mystery parties, which we're going to be doing tomorrow. I'm very much looking forward. My costume is on point because you asked us. Your wife Kelly asked us to dress up specifically for this. So I'm very excited about this.
We're doing a costumed murder mystery dinner with a nice meal and lots of drinks. It's going to be good.
There'll be quite a few people there too, so it'll be fun. So looking forward to. So enough about our plans and what we are going to do. What have you been up to, James? I know you've.
I just did a week of nights, which was horrible.
Yeah.
And I, kind of sandwiched that with a week in Mexico, which was wonderful. So
it's kind of a quick jerk. Like you fly off and you're like, I need to get a tan, a little bit of margarita in my hand, and then
I flew back into St. Louis. Went home, stayed up, and then went right into the night shift.
Better me than I am.
It was, at least I didn't spend the whole week anticipating it.
Yes.
Because that's one of the worst things about going on to a week of nights when you don't do it all the time is that you spend the entire week beforehand just
kind of anxiety.
Torturing yourself.
A little bit of anxiety,
and this way I could just be drunk on the beach, which, was nice and relaxing.
Definitely lowers anxiety.
It definitely lowered anxiety. And I managed to get third place in the costume contest. Despite not really having a costume.
That's okay. It doesn't matter.
We didn't know if the resort was going to have a costume or a Halloween event, but we bought some cheap fox ears off of Amazon. And we're like, we're just going to put them on and we'll have a quote-unquote costume to wear third place.
That's all that matters. You know what? Sometimes it's kind of like that video. What's that TV show? Oh, Whose Line Is It Anyways? Yes. The game, the rules are all made up and the points don't matter.
Exactly.
So that's I love that show, by the way. That was a great show.
But I've been playing Ni no Kuni 2.
Oh.
Which, on the Switch, which has been fun.
Mm-hmm.
The game definitely was not optimized very well for the Switch. When you're playing in handheld mode, it runs like butter.
Yes.
When you're playing it on the big screen, it is choppy.
Yes.
For very unclear reasons, because it's got like PlayStation 2 or 3 era graphics. So
it was just kind of a rough port in my opinion, because I remember playing it, and that's kind of one of the things that kind of bounced me off of Duke, because I had it for my PlayStation 4, which I played on that originally, and then I also got it for the Switch, like you did a while ago. And that's the thing, like you were saying, is I normally I had started playing it handheld, and then one night I was on nights at the time when I got it because I was still working for the police department, and I threw it on the big screen, and was not impressed at all.
No, it's good in handheld mode.
Yeah,
I played it a lot when I was sitting on the beach because it has this kingdom building mechanic where you have to keep coming back to get your money and your supplies and stuff. And, I could whip out the Switch and get on there every 30 or 40 minutes when I was on the beach.
I know nice. You could, yeah. That's the one thing I told Jackie is, like, if we do go do a vacation to a beach anytime soon, I'm going to be taking that Switch. Even if Nintendo's come out with another console, I'm going to take that thing with me, and I'm probably going to play on the beach the whole time while the kids are running around for a little while.
Well, and we went there to chill. And so Kelly was doing Sudoku and listening to an audiobook. I was playing on the Switch, and the manservants were bringing us drinks.
The manservants.
Always as it should be.
That's exactly right. So I like that. So you've been playing a little bit of Ni no Kuni too. Have you gotten a chance to watch anything at all, or you just been kind of take it easy?
I've been starting in on this new season of anime.
Yeah.
I haven't watched too much of it yet. So
it's acceptable.
We'll get through it.
I get it, man.
It is a stacked season, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
100%. And I
watched the first 3 episodes of Chainsaw Man.
You like it?
I do so far.
Okay. I haven't touched it yet.
I think it's going to be good. The artwork is really, really great. The character building so far, a few episodes in, has been good. I don't know. We'll see what you think.
You're interested. I'm interested to see how you feel about it, because I know everything I've seen on it as well. It kind of just want to make sure that it's gonna meet my expectations, right?
It's not a straight up gore ripper, which is what I was concerned about.
Yeah,
I was concerned it was going to be like and I'm going to piss some people off here, like a Fist of the North Star type thing, where it's just the guy goes through and just beats up the person of the week.
I didn't
with little to no plot in between, which I know some people really, really love stuff like that.
Yeah.
It does have some plot. It does have a good story. It has interesting characters. It does have a lot of gory stuff, and so far the main character, the titular Chainsaw Man, is motivated by pretty straightforward stuff. Like, he wants to get food. He wants to meet a girl.
To be fair, though,
somewhat juvenile, but it's also basic humanity stuff, and so I think that's going to be the show, is him kind of growing up as we go.
Okay.
But it's interesting.
Sounds like fun. So on my end, though, so I haven't watched a whole lot. I take it back. I was getting over a migraine a couple of days ago, and I took off the day, and all I did was I sat there and I watched an entire season of South Park.
Nice.
And it was well worth it, because I started in on season 9, and I think that's really where they found their cadence.
Which season was season 9?
That's the one where Mr. Garrison, the first episode is Mr. Garrison gets a sex change.
Oh, yes. And then they have, like, the mouse running around by the end of the season. Yeah. That's a good season.
And I just started season 10 because I was rewatching it. And that's the one where they bring Chef back, because the guy that played his voice, he was a Scientologist, and they made fun of Scientology. And they bring him back, and they're like, Chef's a pedophile now. And I'm just like,
the Secret Adventure Club.
Yeah, we're not to be confused by the Adventure Club, which they just go on kayaking and stuff. We travel around the world, have sex with little boys, and little kids are just like, what?
Yes. Is that the episode that have the Chili Con Carnival as well? Because I feel like season 9 is one where they took it to the hilt. They just went way over the top.
They did. And there's some on there really good. Like season 9, the last episode of season 9, which is what I just watched a little while ago, was the one where the Virgin Mary was bleeding and Rainey was an alcoholic. And I was like, that's just them. You could tell they were kind of hitting a wall a little bit. and they were just trying to like see. I think they honestly throughout that entire season they were trying to see how many people they could honestly just piss off at once, because they hit every group. They hit Catholics, they hit Mormons, they hit Scientologists.
Yeah.
They did. I think they had a thing against religion that season, like hardcore. So
they kind of hit everything. Yeah, it was.
It was
a lot.
it was a lot.
It's also some of the best episodes they put out are in that season.
It really, really, truly. But
the apocalypse part is probably my next favorite season after that one. But
I haven't gotten
like
there.
Season 20 or something.
Yeah, dude, I'm going to go through them all because like I turn it on in the background while I'm working a lot of times, and every once in a while I'll hear a joke, and I'm like, it's funny, and I'll go back to doing what I was doing. But I cannot wait. I forgot what season the Amazingly Randy is in. Because
that's
later on. It's like
24
it's pretty far on.
That's the Cock Magic episode.
It's pretty funny. I enjoy that kind of stuff. So I'm interested to see where I get to what season that is. But anyways, other than that, the main thing I've been doing was before I got a headache, and a little bit today, before you got here during my lunch break, I started playing some 2 games in particular. One, Space Organ Overlord Trader Simulator.
Tell me about this one, because I've seen that one on the Xbox Game Pass, and I've been a little afraid of it.
It's really addictive. It's legitimately just like a stock market game, but you're a space overlord that trades organs for money, and honestly, it's just like a stock market. You're like selling stocks on organs and selling organs to people that have requests and things like that.
Whenever I saw the name of the game, I thought, oh, this is a RimWorld spinoff.
It is ridiculously fun, James. Like, I have to go and like. So what they'll do is it's not slow at all. What they'll do is they'll have like a training time. Like you have to push a button for. It says trade, like you start trade. It gives you a timer of like a minute 30 or something like that, or like a minute. And you have other people, well, AIs are trading against you, and they all have different like trading types, like they go after certain things. Well, you have to meet these requests that you have from people that you can select them.
Yeah.
And as you fulfill the request, you get money, but you also go up in reputation, which unlocks newer types of organs and little things like that. And it increasingly gets more difficult. Like people will get more specific. Like some people are like, I want a new pair of lungs, but eventually they're like, I want a heart that's rare and above a condition 75, which they all have different like ratings and things like that.
Centaur's lungs, a male centaur.
The best
from
one,
a good family.
The best one is they have a rare item that spawns every so often. It's called Little Joey's heart.
Oh gosh,
it's so bad. It's so bad, but it's really funny. But it's worth like on a bad day, it's worth like $10,000, which is ridiculous in that game. So if you just want a fun, like dumb, fun time,
this reminds me of like the lemonade selling games we used to play on Java back in the day.
But
instead of selling cups of lemonade, you're selling hearts.
It is 100% like that, and I think it's what kind of like made me kind of dig into it a little bit. And also, I think I also have a little bit of I have a small little gambling addiction, but I play it off in things like, I'm gonna put a tiny little money in the stock market on my own. But this, I'll do it on a video game because I am deathly afraid of going to casino and trying to play because I just know I'm gonna be one of those people that will put down money and like let it ride.
Once you get a taste of it, you're gonna go for it.
I can't do it, man.
No,
because I love to play poker with my family, but I don't play for money. I just have fun. I can't do it, man. I just have one of those personalities, I think. So
I've occasionally gone to a casino where you come in and be like, okay, here's $100 for me, here's $100 for the missus, and we're not going to spend any more. And it is amazing how fast you can lose that money. Like even going in to lose, I'm expecting, this will be the evening's entertainment. We're going to give you a couple hours. No.
Yeah, free drinks.
That $100 took about 15 minutes to lose.
Yep. And that's even if you do something cheap like the penny slots or something like that. It's like
that's like sitting down on the poker machine playing the $5 poker hands or something.
Yeah,
it happens real fast.
20, and that's the reason they set it up like that because they have working for the casino. I worked for a casino. I don't know if you knew this about me or not, but I worked for a casino as a surveillance officer for probably about 3 months.
Oh, I didn't know you did that.
Did it for 3 months before I started at Potosi as an officer there, and I was like nope, I'm good. I'm done with this. I can't sit in front of a TV screen all day and watch people play poker. And I also felt I just felt just like kind of disgusting working there a little bit. I hate to say that. And just the things that they do to make sure that you stay there and the things that they watch people do, like if they see you winning on a consistent basis, they flag you and things like that. And it's even if you're just not, even if you're not cheating, they watch you like a hawk, and they'll cut you off and things like that. So like like I said, man, they're made. The system is made for them to make money, obviously.
And then once they know that you're going to be a regular, then they get you hooked by starting to offer you perks.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, we'll give you free dinner. You don't even have to play the games. Just come by and have a free dinner sometime. And they know that you're going to invite a bunch of friends, and you guys are all going to gamble it all away. Like
I don't know how many times I've seen.
This is like even in Cape Girardeau, where like there's a clearly marked exit.
Yeah.
Like if you go to Vegas, like sometimes you got to like walk down the up escalator to get out. Like it's predatory.
Oh, 100%, dude. Like, and I remember seeing people come in, and you could just watch them, like their heads would get lower as they're playing these machines or whatever it was, and you could tell, like, oh, somebody just blew the mortgage for the month. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, just trying to get ahead. I'm like, just do something else with it, man. Like, just, I don't know, take that extra money you get, put it in a bond, make like 10 extra bucks off it, because bonds at that time were probably really crappy investments. Now, kids, by the way, if you haven't got on that thing, U.S. bonds, buy them. Worth a lot of money.
Bonds are a great long-term investment. Emphasis on long-term.
100%, yeah. So but yeah, it's.
I will say, whenever the Powerball hit like $1 billion, I thought about going out and getting a ticket.
I did.
It's $2. I'm like, okay, I can gamble once a year whenever the Powerball hits $1 million.
It's $1 billion, yeah. Oh my god.
It's a fantasy. You'd be able to go into work and be like, you know,
guys. He's like, I'm gone. Can't deal with me anymore. See,
I will continue to work under my conditions.
That's right. You can't tell me what to do. But other than that, I did that, and I also started replaying Maneater, which I had. I
enjoyed Maneater a lot. It was fun.
So here's the thing, man. I remember when I initially started playing it, I was really against it, and I just couldn't get into it. Now, maybe I was in a weird place in my life, but now I'm like, this is fun. I kind of like the repetition of having to like go out and like attack different things, and I think finally that I've figured out like it's more about exploring the area and finding out what I need to consume to get bigger, because I just hit the adult stage. I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
The bigger you get, the better it gets, and
exactly,
it's got a simple gameplay loop where, like you said, it's just about going out and eating a bunch of people.
Yes,
finding the collectibles, unlocking the evolutions.
Yep, and just seeing how crazy you can be.
And really, the game is as long as it could possibly be. Like,
yes.
Like if it was any longer, it would be mind-numbing. But like it's just a fun romp. And,
I think I'm going to try in 100% just because it's got the collectible feel to it, but it's also enough. It's contained enough. I don't feel like it's going to be humongous I
100%ed it and the expansion.
Oh, see, I never.
It was like less than 20 hours for both games.
It's pretty good.
Easy. You can play it a few hours here and there and finish it easy.
Yeah, I think I'm only like 2 or 3 hours into it, playing it again, so it'll be fun. So, but yeah, other than that, been just kind of taking it easy, doing that. But all right, guys, I think we're gonna get into the news a little bit. James, game releases for November. I don't know why I wanted to sound like a radio DJ
we're still in the early part of November, but things are definitely going to heat up this month.
So
I know we've beaten the Pokemon game to death, so we're going to just pass on talking more about that.
What are you talking about, James? Why do you want to pass on the Pokemon game?
I mean, I'd be glad to talk about all the leaks and stuff. But the few people who watch this and listen to this are probably getting sick of us talking about.
What are you talking about? So the big ones that I know that are really standoutish are obviously Sonic Frontiers,
which I am kind of excited about.
It looks good.
It looks good. I'm hoping this will be the Mario Odyssey for Sonic, which has not had a really great 3D title yet.
Yes. And that's what people are really saying about it so far. Because I actually watched Completionist, who is one of the guys I was telling you I watch, and he got an early review copy of it from Sega, and he was showing gameplay of it, and even him saying that was a burp. Him having to go through and unlock some of the other characters like Knuckles and all those guys. He said even with that, it was still fun. It was very much. It definitely has its kind of little grindy moments and whatnot, but if you have something that's similar to like Super Mario Odyssey, you're gonna have a little bit of a grind to it. Obviously, trying to get all the collectible stuff. But
I'm hoping they give it the Mario's Odyssey or even the what was the Bowser Revenge one?
You talking about Bowser's Revenge,
or the Bowser's Revenge treatment that they packaged with the 3D All Stars? Yeah, like it's
it's definitely so. What I've seen,
it's like Gaming Crack, where you get a little bump every 30 seconds to a minute or two.
Yeah, it is very much like that from what I've seen them play like that. But the thing is though, every like. It's like set up this 4 separate like islands or whatever it is. I think it's what he said it was, and they all are very much. You move around the islands very much like you're in an original Sonic like 3D kind of game.
That's nice.
And they do also, but he says, but you'll also go into some levels or some areas of the zones where they have traditional side-scrolling Sonic parts of it, which are really cool. So you get a little taste of both, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see that. I kind of want to get it at some point. I'm probably not going to get it right away, but I'll get into it.
Goat Simulator 3.
You want to get Goat Simulator 3. God of War Ragnarok which is the biggest one I wanted to talk about. Yeah. That one has just been. It's out now since the time of this recording, which is today's the 11th. It came out on the 9th. Been nonstop, nothing but good reviews. I'm not going to get it for the PS4. I'm just going to wait until I can play it.
I'm surprised you would already have it.
No, I just don't have one. I don't have the. Oh man, what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't have the money or the. Looking forward to getting it. I'm probably just going to wait a little bit until probably it drops on PlayStation Plus, which will probably be at least a year.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that. I still haven't. I beat the other one. I just haven't 100%ed it. It's not on my radar of things that I just absolutely have to get anymore, James.
Fair enough.
So, but the only downside is I know people are probably going to ruin it for me. So. But
yeah, probably. Let's see. Humankind, wasn't that
was
on Xbox already?
That was released for the Game Pass already because it was through Microsoft Studios. I think it's releasing for other systems now.
Other systems.
So It was okay. If you like the Endless Legends type system, which they do things like Planetfall and other things like that. Okay. It has that kind of same feel to it. It was okay. I still like Civ a lot more because I feel like I just like the way the systems move a little bit more in that. And then again, I've also put way more time into that than these. So maybe if I go back to it at a later date and try and sit down and really dig into it, I'll like it a little bit more. And also, I did play it when it first came out, so they might have patched quite a bit of things to make it a little bit better.
I didn't feel like it had the same depth of like Civ. But it didn't run smoothly like a lighter RTS does. So it was in a weird middle spot for me.
I think they were trying to do that mainly because they were trying to get it to come out on the Switch at some point. But yeah, other than that, I'm trying to think of anything.
Call of Duty Warzone 2, which I'm not a Call of Duty person, but I'm sure that is big.
That is definitely something that people are coming into. Things that I was looking forward to, Dark Pictures Anthology, The Devil in Me. I love the Dark Anthology series. Have you ever played any of those?
I don't think I've played any of those.
So they're definitely like suspense horror games that deal with a lot of kind of Cthulhu-esque ideas. Like you never really 100% know what the big bad thing is going on there. It's usually something like that somebody like you can either you can almost perceive it as maybe like something's wrong with the person, like it's a mental thing, or it could actually be something legitimately like evil or weird that's going after the person. So these games are pretty cool. In the story, it's mostly more about the storytelling and the kind of adventure aspect of the game. Yeah. It's definitely not an open world type of game, but it's still fun. I like the series, and they're always kind of just got that weird. Other game. They have 2 other games, or 2 or 3 other games that I think they have. I think there's one. It's The Man of Medan, and I'm trying to think what the other one was. The Man from Medan is the newest one they came out with, other than this one. So it's really good stuff. I enjoyed it. So I'm trying to think of anything else that you really. Evil West is on here. I like Evil West. That's kind of like what's the game where it's over? It's a turn-based tactics game. Psyops, not Psyops. Is it Psyops? What's it called?
Psyops,
I can't remember, but it's basically just like a Eldritch Wild West kind of game. Okay. So it's fun. I enjoy it. I think it'd be fun. So other than that, not a whole lot.
So Overwatch 2 has been out for about a month now.
So yeah, so moving from the game releases into the news, talking about games and their game updates. In particular, I know we were kind of moving into that a little bit more. You said Overwatch 2 particularly announced that they had a new character coming out, which is
Ramattra.
Yeah, just
he's a new tank, but he kind of has an enraged type ability where he can. He's like unleashed form or something. I think is what they called it.
Is that what he's called?
He drops a lot of his defense and gains a whole lot of extra damage.
Okay. So
he's pretty. He seems like a pretty cool character. He seems like he'll be a very good tank. The story behind him is interesting. He's actually the leader of Null Sector.
Oh.
Him and Zenyatta have some type of past together whenever they were part of the Robot Beast.
Ruh-roh.
And so we're kind of continuing to bring in more of the villain characters from the overwatching storyline of Overwatch.
I like that they're doing that. I think he's pretty cool.
He's a cool character. His character design definitely shows different sensibilities than the original ones did. He's got more of a futuristic, kind of edgy robot feel, whereas the original Overwatch characters had more of a, cartoony archetypical.
Yeah, so this is like what you were saying earlier. He definitely he says he has a tank. He has two different forms: a ranged defensive Omnic form, and a offensive brawler Nemesis form. Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. So he's an
interesting character.
So he's the antithesis of Zenyatta. He's
storyline wise, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. So that'd be fun. So the thing about this guy though is
they're locking him behind the battle pass like they said they were going to. So
which is
they have to hit level 55 on the battle pass, which is a good chunk of gameplay time.
Yeah, I know.
Or you have to pay for the paid battle pass. So they are doubling down on the live service game.
I can understand. Like I said, a little part of me understands, but a little part of me makes me a little mad. So.
Well, and this is kind of my thing, right? If you are going to play the game for 20 or 30 hours a month every month,
yeah,
it's a good deal.
Yep.
You get tons of little unlockables, you get new characters, new maps, content comes out way faster in this type of model of gameplay.
Yep.
If you are older and more casual, it can get very expensive very quickly to get very little. And I have mixed feelings, especially because I'm falling into the older and more casual group.
What are you talking about, James? You are young and spry. What are you talking about?
Well, I tend to pick a game and I'll play it and then I'll move on to the next game. I don't usually play stuff forever. So my wife really likes Overwatch and she might buy some of these battle passes and play it to death and she'll have a good time with it. I probably won't.
That's kind of like the I think it's kind of also more of a guy thing though too, because I know like in our small circle of friends, I know like that's mainly what we'll do is we like to jump from games to games, but I noticed that like our wives, they'll usually stick to like one game and
that's what Kelly does.
That's what they'll play, yeah.
She'll play it to death, so she might get on a Binding of Isaac kick or an Overwatch kick or whatever she's playing, she'll play it.
Yeah, and she will literally try to get everything and anything from it. And I feel like I have to get things in like small chunks and waves.
Well, like Overwatch 1, she used to play competitive too. She played a lot of hours of competitive Overwatch.
Yeah, I remember seeing her play that, and she was pretty good at it too.
She was good.
It's just I just don't know if I'm gonna hunker down and pay for the battle pass or even just put in the time for it though.
I think once they get enough characters built up,
it might be worth it.
They could go like more of the League of Legends approach where you just have unlocked the characters you want to play.
I kind of hope they do that.
The problem with the central game mechanic of Overwatch is switching characters mid-game, mid-match, and so having larger pools unlocked is part of playing the game.
Yeah.
it doesn't help that there's only like 5 tanks and 5 supports right now. So I feel like if you're going to be a tank player, you need to have all the tanks.
And I'm also curious to see if the battle pass is only good for, say, a certain season, and then you can't unlock that character at a certain point.
You have to pay by the battle pass each season. They're saying that once the season is over, the character will be unlockable through like a special challenge. Which so far the special challenges for new players to the game have been like play a certain number of matches to get the old characters.
That's not bad.
I don't know if it's going to be different for the new ones, but they will be unlockable.
Okay.
With patience. And so ultimately for someone super casual like me, it may not matter that much.
Yeah.
If I can come back and unlock them without trying too hard, that's fine.
That's kind of what I was feeling too. Is like at some point, it's just going to be easier for me to go in, not pay the battle pass, wait 6-8 months or whatever it is, and go through and swoop up whatever characters they're releasing.
Yeah, and so it's very aggressively monetized. It's not that different from other similar titles, which is, I'm trying to say to be fair. I'm not saying that's healthy for the game industry.
No, it's definitely not. But at the same time, it's something we have to deal with. So,
the gaming market is bigger than TV and movies put together now, and so
it's ridiculous how much money that's going into. Like more kids nowadays will gladly spend money on a brand new gaming PC that they may not know how to build, and than they would on, say, television, a subscription service, or whatever it is, because you can do everything you can do on a PC and a screen for a decent amount of money. You can do with like that. You can do everything. I'm sorry, take that back. Everything you can do on a television by itself with just like TV and things like that, interacting with that, you can do on a computer. All that stuff is there. You just got to find it. And so, like, a lot of people are saying they're cutting out the middleman, essentially. So,
well, just think about it. Whenever we were kids growing up, we might get the Pokemon game or the Zelda game or whatever, and we would play it to death for 6 months.
But at the same time, though, too, you have to get it on a separate system.
That's a separate console. It's a separate game. I'm just saying, kids are doing the same thing now, but they're doing it on these live service games, and so they might be obsessed with Fortnite for a couple of years.
Or for the rest of our lives, I've run into some of them.
For the rest of their lives. I mean,
it's something. I guess it's understandable because I guess it's, you look at it and you think, what's wrong with these kids? But I do the same. I've done the same thing with things that I've enjoyed to death, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Hellboy. It's just
how many hours of Civ 2 do you have long?
We're not going to talk about it. And like I said, it's always, we're going to pretend that you didn't call out my one addiction that I have. Well, the one game that there's 2 games probably that I have put way more.
We all have a few games like that.
It's just, you just put way too many hours into it. But yeah, that's definitely something that I think that it's going to be interesting to see how this part of the gaming sphere evolves over the next decade or so, because I just don't see how it can stand up and keep going the way it's going with the different kind of battle passes and different, monetization that it's going through. At some point, people are going to get tired of it and they're going to move on to something else. I just have a feeling.
And that's kind of what we've talked about over the last year or so. I think from the outside, the name of the game is they're trying to capture the marketplace.
Yeah.
I think the corporations are trying to race to become the first person too big to leave. So that's like Xbox is trying to buy out Blizzard and everything else, and Sony is sweating a little bit right now. They've actually taken them to court, and this might be something we can talk about as one of our new segments too. But right now, Microsoft is trying to purchase Blizzard, which we mentioned before. They were doing a merger.
Yep.
Sony has tried to contest this in court, saying that some games like Battlegrounds and stuff are so big that it would hurt them significantly financially to have it come under one roof. And Microsoft's counterpoint is pretty poignant in that they're saying that, well, one, Sony, your console demographic is like 3 times the size of ours to begin with.
Yeah.
It's like we could take every player who plays these games on your consoles and make them Xbox exclusive players, and they would still be bigger than us.
Yeah.
But then, too, it's also kind of hypocritical because Sony's made its entire thing about console exclusive games. None of their games go to PC until like a decade later, if they ever do.
Well, like even their God of War game and their Horizon game, they came out a while ago. They just came to PC, and it's almost been 4 or 5 years after the fact.
Which is an eternity.
Yeah, in the gaming sphere. They still sold some, but at the same time, it's just like, it's might as well, for all intents and purposes, it's an exclusive.
Well, it's the same thing with these live service games, right? And especially if they want to get into esports, which everyone's trying to solve the magic formula to make esports a thing. I think the writing's on the wall that it is going to be a thing.
Oh yeah,
especially with the younger generation being less and less interested in regular sports. I mean, stuff like the League of Legends League. They just had their World Series this month, and they've drawn in record numbers. And so Overwatch tried really hard before, and then they shot themselves in their foot with their sequel and no content. And I think Blizzard's going to give it another go. And part of that thing is, like, if you want to have a Overwatch esports, that means you need to have players who play it constantly too. And the live service model feeds into that.
I can see that. So
like, it can't be a one-done game if you want to make a sport out of it.
No,
it has to be something that constantly grows and constantly changes, and that means it needs a constant cash flow.
I think
which is something the original Overwatch lacked. I mean, they had the loot boxes, but that just wasn't enough money.
Which is why I think, like I was saying earlier, and you've also kind of hit on it quite a few times. That is why they're doing this live games as a live service now. They've changed the model so they can. Overwatch 2, in my opinion, is going to be the last Overwatch that they come out with. They're just going to update as they go along. It's going to be like WoW at a certain point. It's literally they're just going to update it and update it and update it, and it's going to be Overwatch 2, and eventually it's just going to be Overwatch Online. Is what it'll probably be, something done like that.
They've got a single player. Not a single player. They've got a multiplayer PvE game mode that's like 3/4 done. That they're sitting on right now too.
Yeah, like I said, it's all about seeing how they're going to evolve, and it'll be interesting to see. So,
which I think we'll play the heck out of the PvE game mode.
100%. Yeah,
if they have like talents and character builds for PvE, I think we would have a lot of fun with that. But
I'm interested to see how it goes. So next stuff before
about big gaming stuff.
Yeah, I know. So Remedy Studios actually just announced that they're going to be coming out with Control 2, which I don't. Did you ever get a chance to play Control 2 at all?
I think I did.
So this is the one where they came out with. It's where the I am trying to remember her name. She was basically the protagonist is a woman that comes in as the she's supposed to be an agent for with the federal a federal agency that basically deals with like paranormal type stuff. I'm trying to remember the name of what the agency's called. But anyways, she comes in here and weird stuff starts happening. People basically start getting replaced with these otherworldly kind of like creatures that have kind of like red energy for heads and things like that, and they're kind of like evil and stuff like that. But essentially the whole thing is you're trying to stop an invasion from this force, and it's all centered around you being inside of your this federal building that looks nonchalant from the outside. It looks like just a stereotypical federal building, but you go in. But it's really cool. But you have like psychic powers and a gun, and the lore behind it is actually really cool once you get into it a little bit more. But essentially,
I like the shooters where you can get special powers to go with it. That's always fun.
It's really fun. But the whole concept, like apparently it came out with when it came out, it had really good reviews and whatnot, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I think it's still the big. I think the big edition or the Game of the Year edition is free on Game Pass, I think. But essentially what the big news about this, though, is that Control, Remedy announced that they're going to be partnering with 505 Games to develop and co-publish Control 2, which hopefully it's going to be bigger than what it was last time. And I'm really excited about that. So if you guys haven't had a chance to check out this game, it's really fun. This is the main character right here, James. But yeah, she's it's all really fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I've been wanting to do a episode on it for a while, but yeah, it's good stuff.
Another thing to talk about is the metaverse.
Oh God.
Oh, the Zucksters at it again. So they're laying off 11,000 employees.
which was I read was 13% of the workforce.
Which is an absolutely insane workforce for an unprofitable venture so far.
Yes.
But they've lost more than $1 billion in valuation as the stock market crashed on them.
Oh my God! So like I'm reading here, so so here's a quote for you guys. So in the last the spending that it in for this year to date, Metaverse has only made $285 million in the past 3 months. I apologize, but spent $3.672 billion.
It's absolute insanity.
And for what you see and what you're getting in all this, it's just insane. Like how can anybody keep up like with that? Like how does he expect this to even work?
I mean, I think at some point something like the metaverse is going to kick off. I don't know that we're ready for it yet. I think the VR sets are too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes down to something like
even a cheap VR set, which by the way you can't like sit on the couch and play with your family. This would be a one-person setup.
Yes,
it's like $400, and you need a high-quality gaming PC to pair that with. So the real cost is something like $2,000 just to get into it.
Yeah, even like my computer probably couldn't run it very well.
I mean, I know they're trying to make the metaverse more accessible now. So like instead of being VR only, they're apparently adding like a smartphone entry and a PC webcam entry.
Yep.
They're going to try and pull like their Zoom and Teams meetings and stuff into the metaverse to try and get people into it to start spreading it. I don't know.
It's a lot, man. Don't get me wrong. It's going to end up, if it was something like, have you ever seen Minority Report where they do that thing where he can move it around stuff like on a big screen? If it's something similar to that, and in the future, that would be really cool.
Or something like Ready Player One. Have you watched that movie?
Yeah.
Like once they get to the point where they can do something like that, it's going to be, or if you've ever watched any of the animes, like the quote-unquote full dive technology type stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I think once they reach that level, it's going to be amazingly popular.
Oh, 100%.
Regardless of the price. But we are not anywhere close to that.
No, you're talking probably at least a couple decades away from that kind of thing.
I mean, getting a desktop computer that can even render 4K graphics around you
is ridiculous.
I mean, some of the new cards can at least render what you're looking at, but being able to like turn your head seamlessly is still
you're talking at least you're probably like a minimum of 64 gigs of RAM, probably a ridiculously high processor, and on top of that, just you're probably talking like
one or two high video cards.
Yeah, easily.
Like I've got a 3080 Ti.
Yeah,
and it could run a high resolution VR headset, but that's not the same thing as running a seamless world around you.
Yeah, no.
That's like your typical limited field of view VR game.
Yeah, it's
the amount of processing is insane.
100%. I will 100% agree with you on that. So I don't know what they're going to end up doing with it because, like I said, it's with the simple fact, like I said, they're hemorrhaging money. I think I said, like you said, the best course of action for them is to try to migrate some of those systems into like Zoom and things like that into the metaverse where they become, inseparable. But I think he's also hedging it to the point where it's either this guy is going to be incredible. He's going to hit gold again or hit oil again and be this incredibly lucky dude like he did with Facebook.
Yeah.
Or he's going to fall so hard in his face that he's going to wipe out all of his assets.
Well, he knows that for social media stuff like this, the first person to get universal buy-in is the person who, quote-unquote, wins the game.
Yes.
And that's what happened with Facebook is, at this point, everyone's on Facebook, not because they necessarily like the platform, but because everyone else is on Facebook. And that's why, like, Google's attempt to take over didn't really get anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, because not that it was bad. I think objectively the Google one was better, but
they were behind the 8 ball on it.
But they were behind the 8 ball, and so I think he is hoping that he can hemorrhage some money now and tap the next gold mine. And he might be able to. He's not yet.
Definitely not yet.
It's one of those things, if you do it too soon, you're going to blow all your money.
Yep.
And it's going to get snapped up by the next guy.
100%.
So, like, MSN's a good example of that.
100%, yeah.
Skype is a good example of that. that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
there's tons of examples of that, right?
There's plenty of companies who make great products who were even widely used for a while, who were just a little bit ahead of the time.
Yep.
And they weren't the sexy thing whenever the public was ready for it.
Prime example that I even use. This has been going on for years. Electric cars. There was an electric car, a legitimate electric car came out around the same time that Henry Ford came out with his gasoline powered car. It didn't have the same horsepower on it, but it lasted longer than his when it went toe to toe. But people didn't like it as much. And it went the way of the dodo for how many decades?
Well, and even now, Tesla's putting out electric cars.
And it's still hitting the headwind, right?
Well, exactly. And is Tesla going to be the one that really makes it mainstream? Probably not.
They're definitely putting down a lot of the groundwork, but I think that
infrastructure is the thing. I think once there is enough charging stations that people can like go on a family vacation with an electric car, then it will take off.
Yeah,
and that'll be the moment that General Electric's going to jump in and release one.
And the thing is, Ameren and those people are starting to do that little by little. Like we've only got one charging station in the entire city of Cape right now, and that's through Ameren, right? And they're kind of doing that a little bit, right?
The only thing Tesla has going for them over the other competitors right now is battery technology.
Yep,
which they are legitimately way ahead on.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I think once their technology either leaks or other people catch up. And especially once batteries, if they can double capacity again, which is asking for a lot. But
yeah, well, that's the thing, though, too.
Once you can get a 200 or 300 mile charge on a battery, electric cars are going to be everywhere.
100%, yeah. And I think, and now that a lot of like European companies are entering the fray, I don't think it's going to be much longer before you have some that's going to outstrip it. Honestly, this is me though. You put enough players on the table with enough sets of hands, somebody's bound to hit 21 and hit jackpot, right?
And in a fit of incredible irony, do you want to know who one of the biggest fans of electric cars is? The coal industry.
Yep.
Because I'm sorry, guys, electric cars are not green.
No, they're not 100% green. No, they're not. And because electricity has to come from somewhere, guys.
Electricity has to come from somewhere, and most countries do not have the green energy infrastructure to run that sort of thing.
Fingers crossed, soon.
We'll see. There are some small countries, like Greenland, for example, have pushed it hard enough that their green energy grids are starting to run out of loss because they're not using all their power. But
yeah.
For most countries with large cities...
Wow, that's when you start selling it to other countries that need it, James.
Well, so here's the trouble with most green energy.
Yeah.
It's an always-on form of energy.
Yep.
It doesn't have the surge capacity for, like, a city to go through that, 6 to 10 o'clock.
Up and down, yeah.
And so I don't know that big power plants are ever going to be gone.
No, they're not.
The greenest thing you could do would be a switch from coal to nuclear.
Yes.
That has its own set of problems. But
we're talking about, James.
You need some type of powerful, large volume energy that you can turn on or off.
Yes.
As part of the power grid.
Batteries. If you can crack the energy storage solution
on a city scale,
you will be a big thing. You will be a billionaire. And it's funny that you bring that up.
More than that.
I know, yeah, but it's definitely. I've seen a lot of videos for it. There are a lot of really ingenious ideas out there without going into and making this
right
more.
Right now, power storage is hard, and so some people are doing things like pumping water uphill and running it through a hydroelectric dam as a way of trying to store some of this green energy. But all of these are very expensive, not very efficient methods of doing things, and it just hasn't worked out yet.
Fun thing that if you want to go down a rabbit hole, so we don't go off on a tangent, look up sand batteries.
Sand batteries, okay.
It's actually one of the more ingenious ideas that I've seen. So, anyways, getting back to more like actual I know we went on a random tangent there, guys. I apologize, but it was just one of those things that we like to enjoy about. So, getting more into the anime news style type things. I thought this was kind of interesting. From Anime News Network, a man got arrested for selling a bootleg copy of Dragon Ball manga's debut issue. So, this happened a man allegedly sold a 1984 issue 51 of Weekly Shonen Jump for 180,000 yen, which is roughly translated. I think it's like $1,100 or $1,200.
Yeah, it's about 100 yen to the dollar, a little less.
So he,
which I don't know what manga goes for, but Dragon Ball 1 has to be worth more than that.
Well, considering that it was,
they were printing it on shitty paper, so I'm sure it's in bad condition, but.
Yeah, even if it's in bad condition. So that's the problem with a lot of these books. So since it was made in '84, even if you look at something like, so being a comic book collector, I can tell you this right now: unless you buy something and immediately stick it in a nylon bag with a board backer on it,
an acid-free backboard, and a
100%,
climate-controlled room,
it's the value almost immediately goes down. And even if you do that, it's still going to have a value deterioration because you're going to have tearing around the edges and things like that. So unless you slab it, which the term slabbing is, you literally put it in a plastic case where it's mounted and bracketed, where it doesn't touch the sides. You have to send it off for these things.
Under like a neutral atmosphere.
They grade it, and then they slab it, and you can never take it out of this case again.
Yeah.
And it'd be worth hundreds of dollars or whatever it is, but a lot of these places didn't exist until the mid '90s.
Well, the thing is, they were printing this stuff on the cheapest paper they can get, with the cheapest ink they could get. Like something I read the other day, the Hulk was originally intended to be a gray character.
Yep.
Why did they make him green? Because the green ink was cheaper.
Yep.
People don't understand that this stuff is. It's big now, but
gray with orange pants, James.
Yes.
And green, purple, and green is so much better. That's why they did it.
It is.
You gotta love the style choices that they do, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I just kind of felt bad that I kind of felt bad for the person that bought this. But I mean, at the same time, though, the guy that got arrested for it, he is alleging that he believed it to be authentic. But if I got nabbed for something like this, I would say I thought it was authentic too. So. But
I mean, yeah, what were you supposed to say?
No, officer. I knew
I was the victim here.
I was the victim here. I knew it was wrong. I knew it was bad. So this is something else I thought was kind of interesting too. So, quote, world's biggest anime shop, unquote, opens on Japan on March 16th of next year. That's what they're saying. So this is kind of interesting. Over in Japan. Yep. It looks like it's going to be a building that can be around 10 floors, including a basement floor. Store will offer interactive experiences and services alongside anime and manga-related merchandise. The floor plan includes an event hall, theater space, exhibition area, and a cafe. So, wow.
I mean, it's inevitable. Anime is a cultural phenomena, not just in Japan, but it's such a big
world.
It's such a big exporter and revenue generator for the country that like their government is encouraging the industry.
I know, right?
As a exportable product from when you're an island nation, what are you supposed to export?
I mean, you got...
They're not making enough food to export large amounts of food.
No. That's our job, James. We make the corn for your corn syrup. That's right, and we put it in your beverages and we sell them to you.
We have so much corn that we tried to make gasoline out of it, which is...
very bad.
Still, years later, makes me chuckle, but
that's the American people.
Our food was so cheap, we made it ethanol, put it in our gas tanks,
and it's still an awful idea. But that was one of those things I just thought that was kind of crazy. So, but maybe it's something you can look forward to. Maybe in a few years, James, we can hop over to Japan.
Let's see. Anything else you want to hit? I want to mention the Star Wars franchise.
That was another big one that I thought was really cool. Yeah.
Realize that. He's had an exclusive contract on Star Wars for a long time, but the most recent game, the Star Wars Eclipse, I think, is the last game under that license.
Yep.
And so now that Disney owns Star Wars, they have published that they are hoping to do a Star Wars game every 6 months for the foreseeable future. One AAA and then one small title.
Looks like we got
several. Be a lot of studios are going to be.
So here, let me rattle some off for you. So you got. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which is going to be
that's going to be in May.
Yeah, that's going to be May 22. That is going to be the one that's going to be following up on Cal Kestis, which was the one that just came out. I believe it was Force Awakens. That was Outcast. No, I can't remember what the name was. It's the one that just came out. Was the single player one, which was really fun actually. Mm-hmm. Respawn has an untitled Star Wars first person shooter game. Bit Reactor is a Star Wars strategy game, which I will probably end up playing that. Did you ever play the old Star Wars strategy games, real-time strategy games, James?
The ones that were Age of Empires 2 clones? Yes,
they were so much fun.
I did play that. I I built giant shield walls.
That's right. You were the Gungans, weren't you?
Yes, I was the Gungans.
Man, you were. Oh man, that's awful.
Probably the most degenerate strategy, but
Hey, you know what?
we're
You do it
guaranteed to win eventually because those things were very, very strong.
overpowered, 100%. You have the Star Wars Eclipse game, which you were talking about. So that is going to be developed by Quantic Dream, which are the same guys that did Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human. Which those are more of like adventure games, story-driven games, like choice-driven games, things like that. So I'm going to be interested to see what they do for that. I kind of want it to be more not as narrative-driven, but if it's a Star Wars game, I'll probably be down for it. So.
Yeah, the KOTOR remake has been in the works for a while, and nobody really knows quite how far along it is.
Yeah, that's going to be held on wraps. You got Star Wars Hunters, which is Zynga is going to be.
And EA is still trying to make their Old Republic MMO too, which they've been trying to make a Star Wars MMO work for a while, and it just hasn't.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be. I tried playing it for a while one time there, and it just wasn't my cup of tea, man. I mean,
it's still live. It's not offline like all the other ones are, but it's just.
It's definitely going to be going the way of the dodo here pretty soon.
I think the problem with Star Wars as an MMO is that Star Wars has main character syndrome, in that the Jedi characters are so overpoweredly broken that to deliver an experience where someone can be a satisfying Jedi character and someone can play like a satisfying Han Solo character,
it's a very hard stretch.
It's impossible. They were on different power levels to begin with. Like the Jedi were supposed to be the mystical space ninjas.
Yes.
I think the idea of an MMO is just fundamentally not working unless you just make the Jedi's NPCs, maybe.
Yeah, you can do that, and you can definitely make it a little bit more, like you said, geared towards that roguish and even more like Joe Blow character type stuff, or maybe even like a bounty hunter type thing, which would be kind of fun. So, talking about if you like to hear, that's something else I was really getting into recently. I know we're jumping back to what I was watching about Star Wars though. Star Wars Andor, which is based on it's basically the story of how the rebellion came to start in the beginning of the Galactic Empire, but it's all set around the little guys. It has nothing to do with the Jedis.
Good.
If you like it, check it out on Disney Plus, guys. I'm really enjoying it. So
that's one of the things that Star Wars has going for these games is it has a massive universe.
Oh yeah,
with metric tons of material.
And that's like as you were saying, it's like they've never really touched any of these smaller, lesser known characters, or even everyday characters that don't have Jedi powers. They're just regular Joe Blows. Not everyone needs to be Ahsoka Tano, which, don't get me wrong, I can't wait to see her because I love Rosario Dawson and I want to see her in a live action version of that. But not everybody. It doesn't always need to be about Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting, after for the first time after Obi-Wan puts down his lightsaber. It's like you got to have these other things. So
what I'm hoping to see is that the Star Wars video games are going to take the place of what the old open license books did, where they continue to expand and push the universe.
That which will not be named, James.
Yes. What I'm afraid is going to happen.
Legends.
What I'm afraid is going to happen is that this is going to turn into Disney furiously milking the Star Wars franchise for all it's worth.
Kind of milk it for all the blue milk they can get out of it.
Yeah, I think as long as they let these studios continue to add to the universe, it'll be fun.
It'll be.
I think if they overmanage them and they sterilize it, it's going to end up being really, really dead.
So that is the one thing before we close out everything here. I know that is the one thing I think that the gaming area of the Star Wars franchise will have going for it. I think they're going to be more willing to let different things be tried in this as opposed to the cinematic, because I feel like I think they understand that more people that enjoy Star Wars are more people like our age and our parents' age, and so they're going to end up absorbing it through movies and television as opposed to people that are a little younger than us that still like Star Wars and things like that, or even people like our age that still are kind of in between. They're more likely to go after like the gaming things.
Yeah.
So I think that's where they're going to try a few new things to try to see if they can go in and pick up some of that money that these kids are dropping. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to even just checking out some of these Star Wars games that are on the horizon. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that I had for the day, James. Is there anything else you wanted to throw in there?
I was thinking about talking about the whole Bayonetta controversy, but that thing's kind of been beaten to death already.
Well, yeah, like I said, she
Suffice it to say, she was lying through her teeth looking for sympathy.
Yeah,
story over.
It happens. So, yeah, she kind of. Anyways, I'll leave it alone. Like I said,
we'll leave it alone. We can talk about that for 30 minutes.
Yeah, 100%. So, but anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this pumpkin pie, whipped cream, turkey leg episode that we've had going for you guys today. If there's anything we missed, if there's anything that was said wrong, anything you enjoyed, if you enjoyed our sultry, dulcet tones even more than we normally do, just let us know, and we can pick up and fix these things and try to help out and give you guys what you want to hear, if anybody's listening out there. I doubt it, but it's still fun to kind of poke fun at you guys if you guys are listening to it. But either way, James, I appreciate you coming in, kind of, I guess for lack of a better word, beating a dead metaverse with me.
I enjoyed it.
I know.
As long as it has pumpkin spice lattes.
That's right. You're my basic girl. Always my basic girl. So, all right, guys, we're going to head out of here. Have a wonderful November, and we'll see you next month. All right. See you guys.
If you're interested in keeping up to date with new episodes on our channel, add us on any of your favorite podcasting apps, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Seriously Pointless Conversations. If you have questions or concerns, please email us at seriouslypointlessconvo@gmail.com. We appreciate any feedback. Thank you for listening to our show.